welcome to Between Two Ferns. I really appreciate this. I grew out the beard just for this event, actually. Thank you so much to Jackie and the whole group for allowing me to speak. I want to dedicate this talk to my three boys, Kalyan, Kathan, and Kian, two of which are here because the youngest one is deemed too mischievous to be here. So this one's for you guys because you guys are my inspiration. This is a story about sports, as you can see, but it's about sports and medicine, but we'll get back to that in a minute here. So I was in clinic a few winters ago when I was talking to a patient, and all of a sudden my phone rings. So I look down at my phone, and I see that it's actually one of my good friends and old med school classmates, who you may know, Dr. Amit Koshal, who was a hospitalist at the VA. So I do what anyone would do when Amit calls you, and I just silence my phone and put it back into my pocket. That would have been better if he was actually here today, but now it's just kind of rude. But regardless, I put the phone back in my pocket, and I start talking to my patient again, and then 10 seconds later, it rings again. And I look down at the phone, and it's Dr. Amit Koshal. I said, that's a bit unusual for Amit. Usually he's just texting me memes about politics or sports, so this might be actually somewhat urgent. So I excuse myself and go into the hallway, and I answer the phone. I said, Amit, is everything okay? Are you all right? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine, but I have an important question for you. I was like, sure, shoot. He's like, hey, I really need to know, do you want to coach 5-year-old basketball together at the YMCA? And I'm like, I have 25 patients, all with cancer right now, and you're asking me about YMCA basketball, Amit? Like, dude, can we do this tomorrow? He's like, no, deadline's today. You have 3 boys, I have 3 boys. This is our youngest. They're 5 years old. Once they get past 5, we won't have the skill set to teach them basketball anymore. So we need to do this now. After some hemming and hawing and saying, okay, whatever, so I said, all right, I'll do it. I'll show up. Put me down. So 2 weeks later, I show up to the YMCA, donning some new athleisure gear that my wife had got me, a brand new shiny whistle, and a white clipboard that I still don't know what I did with it the entire time. And I see 7 little Indian kids all standing in front of me, Bay Area. So all these kids are coming from like Cupertino and Mountain View. Probably, to be honest, an area that's probably better known for producing mathletes more than athletes. But I can say that. But they were the most adorable team ever, though. They called themselves the Tiger Sharks, and they're the most adorable Tiger Sharks you've ever seen. Okay. So on the first day of practice, we try to set some ground rules. And in addition to all the normal rules that you have and normal goals that you have of teaching 5-year-old basketball, such as emphasizing teamwork, playing with joy, being respectful to your teammates and coaches and opponents, we did have one basketball-related goal that season, just one basketball-related goal. And that is we wanted each kid to score at least 1 basket in 1 game all season. That was it. That was it. One basket all season. That was the only goal. We just felt it was really important to experience that joy of seeing the ball go through the hoop, right, on these 8-foot hoops. So for 6 of our 7 kids, won't be a problem. Shouldn't be an issue. Pretty good athletes. For 1 kid, we'll call him Ananth, because his name was Ananth. So one of the perks of being a coach and not his doctors is that there's no HIPAA. So Ananth, bless his heart, getting him to score a basket would essentially take an act of God to make it happen. We needed divine intervention to get Ananth to get the ball in the basket. As adorable as he was, he just wasn't strong enough to get the ball a few feet above his head, unfortunately. But really good at math, though. So we start to get a little bit nervous halfway through the season because we're halfway through and Ananth has yet to score a basket in practice, let alone a game. So now we're getting a little bit nervous. So what we decided to do is split up practice. So Coach Amit will take 6 boys underneath 1 hoop and just do our regular drills and skills and all those kinds of things. And then I'll take Ananth to the other basket and just try to make a layup. And so we decided to use the I believe technique. So we're going to scrap your eyes and everything that you've learned in the past. We're going to have you sit right by the side of the basket, close your eyes, give you the ball, you're going to crouch down and just yell, I believe, as you're shooting the ball up into the air, and we'll just see what happens. That was with the technique. So lo and behold, in the second to last practice of the season, Ananth uses this technique and he makes a basket. Pretty amazing. So proof of principle, it could happen. It was kind of like a phase 1 clinical trial. We were able to ensure safety, like he didn't break anything, and we saw a hint of efficacy. Like it was fun. So we decided to go straight to the phase 3. No phase 2, go straight to the phase 3. So fast forward now to the final game of the season. We're entering the fourth quarter, and Ananth has yet to score in the season. I even told Coach Sumit, I was like, hey, should we just put him on our shoulders and give him the ball and let him dunk it in and let the other team know? And Coach Sumit, to his credit, is like, no, we're doing this the right way. So I told my son, Kathan, sitting here with the shaggy hair, and I said, Kathan, you have one responsibility the rest of this quarter. You need to dribble the ball down the court, hand the ball to Ananth. You can't pass it to him because he may not catch it. You need to hand it to him and just bulldoze your way through the lane, clear the lane out for him, and let him shoot the ball, okay? So Kathan did this the entire fourth quarter, bless his heart. Ananth made 0 shots. And I'm thinking, oh no. And so Kathan looks at me and says, Daddy, what do I do? I said, keep on doing it. You just keep on doing it. We're not giving up. So with about 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter of the last game of the season, Kathan takes the ball down the court, hands it right to Ananth, and miraculously, the whole actually lane cleared for him. It was pretty, I think the other team wanted him to score. And you can just hear these bellows of, shoot it, shoot it. I think the opposing team was even saying, shoot it. Everyone wanted this kid to score. So all of a sudden you see Ananth take the ball, crouch down, close his eyes, and he just shoots it as hard as he can. And Amit and I look at each other and we're saying, you can actually see air underneath his feet. He's jumping. This is amazing. We have never seen this kid jump in the air before. We are so excited. And he's just the cutest kid in the world. You have to see this. But then all of a sudden, the ball just keeps on going up in the air, up, 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 and in this parabolic fashion that resembles a shot. It was amazing. And all of a sudden, as if time just stood still, it seemed like it was above the cylinder for a minute. And we're all looking to see whether it would drop or not. And all of a sudden, it just drops through the hoop. And Ananth scored his first basket in the season. At first, there was silence, and then there was pandemonium. The kids on the team were all rejoicing. The parents were all shouting. Amit and I had jumped into each other's arms as if we won the Super Bowl. His parents, Ananth's parents, were just sobbing on the sideline. They had just moved from India during the pandemic, had no community until the Tiger Sharks, and they saw their firstborn make his first shot in the final game of the season. It was one of the most special moments that I've ever seen, and just to kind of make it even a little bit more hysterical for us, when the ball actually went through the hoop, it hit one of the kids' shoes, and so it rolled off into the other court. So there was this natural 30-second pause in the game where we could all celebrate Ananth, and it kind of felt like Kobe's last shot, where everyone was cheering for him, and he had the most radiant smile you've ever seen on a kid. And it just made my day, and it just made me feel so special. It was one of my favorite moments in life. Easily top 10, but I have 3 boys, so I can't tell you where in that top 10 it is, because that would be disrespectful to them. But it was easily one of my favorite moments I've ever experienced, though. So after the game, then, we had a ceremony at a awards banquet at a local pizza place, and we were handing out awards for each kid. And so they're all kind of nicknames. So for Mr. Fast Break over here, we had Mr. Hustle, Mr. Defense. And for Ananth's award, he was awarded Mr. I Believe, which I thought was very fitting, really special. So that weekend, though, kind of my professional and coaching lives kind of intertwined. So that same weekend, one of my dear, dear patients, John, was in the hospital with complications from stage 4 metastatic prostate cancer. Now, John was like a gem of a guy. He was this big, burly man with a baritone voice, and he was a football coach at a local high school in San Jose. So we loved talking about sports, And his favorite subject, the Tiger Sharks. As soon as I would walk into the room, John's first question, Dr. Shah, how about them Tiger Sharks? How they doing? What's the record now? Are you guys playing a man-to-man? Are you guys playing zone-to-zone? How are you getting the boys pepped up for the games? Are they responding to you? Literally, his wife would just be like rolling her eyes half the time, but we probably spent 20 out of 30 allotted minutes talking about sports and the Tiger Sharks, though. But if we ever had a super fan, it was John. He was just like a really special guy. So unfortunately, that weekend, he was in the intensive care unit, and his health started to deteriorate rather quickly. So we made the decision, after talking to his team members in the ICU, myself, and his family members, to transition him to comfort care. So unfortunately, after a long battle with cancer, John succumbed to his disease later that day, and he passed peacefully with his family by his bedside here at Stanford. And I remember being how devastated I was that we lost John that weekend. So I called his wife, Allison, on Monday morning to offer my condolences. And it was actually a very pleasant and actually lighthearted conversation, surprisingly. We shared a lot of our stories about John. We actually shared a lot of laughs as well. She even chided me at one point saying, Dr. Shah, maybe if you talked a little bit more about prostate cancer and a little bit less about basketball. But she was only joking, though. But she expressed her appreciation for the care team, and I expressed my gratitude to her for the privilege of being John's oncologist. And so it was a very great conversation. And I was about to hang up the phone, and then Allison interjected right before I hung up, though. She said, "Oh, Dr. Shah, sorry, I have a couple of things I wanted to say, though. John asked me to ask you, right before he passed, 2 questions." I was like, "Yeah, of course, Allison. What's up?" So she said, well, the first question was that John has a bunch of old basketballs from the high school that he would love to donate to the Tiger Sharks. Are you willing to accept them? And I said, absolutely. My heart's breaking, of course. And so this is one of the basketballs that John gave to us. And I put this in the back of my office. So it's actually the centerpiece of my Zoom background. And I've actually had a few patients who commented on it and asked about this ball. And they asked, "Oh, do you play basketball?" And I say, "No, but there's a really special story behind it, though, of a guy that really believed in us." And then I said, "Allison, what was the second question?" So then Allison says to me, she goes, "Dr. Shah, right before John passed away, he held my hand and he said, 'Allison, ask Dr. Shah if that kid on the Tiger Sharks ever scored a basket in the last game of the season.'" And just like now, I wasn't able to respond to her question because tears just started streaming down my face. Allison, through my non-answer, understood my answer. And she replies, "I knew it. I knew that he would, and John did too, because he believed in that kid." I was just so humbled to know that there was a man out there who spent his last waking hours of life thinking about 5-year-old YMCA basketball. This is pretty incredible. And then it made me also wonder, why do I care so much about sports? Why do I care so much about sports? About watching these grown adults play a child's game. But it's stories like this that remind us that sports, just like oncology, allows us to believe, even when there may not be any reason to believe, but we still do. There's a single and profound thread that unites oncology and sports, and I think that's hope. I think hope is that belief that even when we're facing insurmountable odds, whether it's a fourth quarter comeback or an incurable cancer, that we can still rise, that we can still persevere, and that we can still find meaning if we just close our eyes and say to ourselves, "I believe." That's my story. But I did want to provide a brief epilogue, because at the end of every good Disney movie, they always tell you what's happening now. So Dr. Amit Koshal is still at the VA as a hospitalist. He still sends me a lot of political and sports memes via text. And while our boys are no longer on the same team, he's still coaching the Tiger Sharks. So I recently, when we caught up last, I asked Amit, I was like, how about, by the way, how is Ananth doing? He's like, Ananth? Oh, you mean Mr. Buckets? He's now scoring 2-3 baskets a game, every game now in second grade basketball. So yeah, sometimes all you need is, sometimes all you need is a little nudge. But, yeah. Thank you.